Hello, my name is Richard Walker of A Better Life, and I help make people's lives better through using hypnotherapy techniques. I particularly specialize in stress and anxiety and happiness. Now, one of the things that comes up from time to time, not very often, is that people say, well, does it last? I'm a real skeptic. And frankly, I was a skeptic myself. Having been a scientist through and through, I was educated in physics. But then a few things got me. One is, of course, the evidence, as you say. And the other is realizing that, in fact, science itself has a few maybe important and proven beliefs at its core that go unchallenged. But that's not a big issue. But if you're interested in that, look up people like Rupert Sheldrake and David Bohm. But here's the main thing. There's no scientific issue with rapid learning. And that's what we're dealing with here, rapid learning, even instantaneous learning. That's how learning actually occurs. When the penny drops, it drops in a moment. In fact, in a brief trance-like moment. When you learned to ride a bike, do you remember that? What happened? Now, it may have taken a few failures along the way, which might have caused you a few scrapes and cuts. But when you actually got it, when the learning actually took place, it was in a moment, wasn't it? It was instantaneous. And then you start improving, getting better, building on the basic core learning pathway, the learning pathways set up in your nervous system, if you like, that have been established. And learning and unlearning are really two faces of the same process. A neurological process of dendrites connecting up. And they can be observed, well, with the right specialist scientific kit. It is permanent in the sense that we are freeing up pathways, neurological pathways, which make far better and easier processing of emotions, as opposed to letting them get stuck or distorted, which is a kind of miscommunication. So then you now have a more free flow of whatever that really is. What's a thought made of? Kind of communication of thought or energy flow. It may be theoretically possible to mess it up again, but I'm not really sure how you would. Maybe you could push someone to beyond breaking point, some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder perhaps. But even then, if you work through resolving that, I kind of wonder whether you might get back to the same place. In fact, possibly even stronger if you resolved it. Like Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But here's the real thing. I usually don't have to hypnotize someone into doing something. I don't usually install any suggestions or any such thing, not for the more important work. So what's to wear off? How can you unsee or unknow something once you know it the way you do? There are lots of things that you've learned that you can't unlearn. And essentially, that's one way of looking at the deeper work I'm doing, is you're unlearning something that didn't work for you and relearning in the process a better way of looking at something. Now, for sure, when it comes to tidying up loose ends, to have a behavior stick, stopping smoking perhaps would be like that. Then, well, think of it this way. Think about when you learned to drive. It was mirror, signal, maneuver, and you thought you'd never get it. And then it became automatic. It dropped out of awareness because it was lodged deeper in the mind, in the unconscious part of your mind. It becomes automatic. Well, with the behavioral side, that's a way of looking at what we're doing here, kind of lodging it a bit deeper. Now, the other side is when you learned to drive, you wanted to learn to drive. You had a good reason, you had a motivation. And that motivation is important too. So with the motivation and the right style of setting it up at the unconscious level, it can then become an automatic process working for you. So there's the deeper side, which might be more important issues than simply changing a behavior. Things like how you feel about yourself, confidence, these kinds of things, working with where your stress comes from. That's about relearning and seeing something differently. And then when we're making more permanent changes to behavior, permanent changes to behavior, then they're lodged at the unconscious level. So they're kind of there for you automatically, just like learning to drive. Does that make sense to you? Richard Walker, A Better Life, making life better. And if you do want to ask me any questions, just ping over an email. I'll be happy to reply. Thank you.